Restoring lost details in feathers is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Well, hello everyone. All right, so I took this photo at Gatorland here in Central Florida, and I shot it with a 200 to 400 millimeter Nikon lens. This thing was huge. It was handheld, so let's dissect the photo first, and then I'll show you how I should have fixed it in camera before we got into Luminar, all right? So here we are, and I'll come over here to catalog, and notice it was shot with 200 ISO, and again, there's a 280 millimeter lens, 5.6 at 1/250th of a second. With that lens being so large, I should have bumped that up to at least 400 ISO, and then that would have brought this up to 500th of a second, giving me a little more wiggle room when it comes to camera shake. Now, since there are blown out highlights in this image, I could have shot it at 1,000th of a second, and what that would have done is it would have made the image a little bit darker, but then the feathers themselves would have been properly exposed. Here, let me hide this screen for a moment. There we go. All right, so let's check that out. So this is what it looks like before the edit. And this is what we're going to turn it into. Now again, notice how we restored the lost details in the feathers. Now I'm going to go back later and we can soften these up just a little bit. So let's come over here to edit. And I want to show you where we started from. So here we are with the develop raw. From here with develop raw, I'm going to reenact all of this, but I wanted to show you the tools that we used. So develop raw, enhance AI, another version of enhance AI. Then we brought the details back in, dropped our vignette, add a little glow to soften up some of the feathers, super contrast to darken the back area, and then to tie it all in, we toned down this green, excuse me, to make sure it's not competing with the bird itself. So I'm going to discard all these edits and let's start from scratch. There we go. All right, so let's start with that develop raw. We're going to bring down the highlights. I'm going to pump up the smart contrast a little bit. Now from here, the camera was shot with the Nikon 300, so it was an older camera. Let's see what profile would look the best. Excuse me. Let's go with, I'm going to go with standard. Let's stick with standard. All right, so now by bringing it down, back to edit, one thing I didn't do, oh, wait, let me discard all the edits, try that again. It wants to keep my changes. There, discard. Let's try that again. Is it saving my edits? Yeah, for some reason it wants to save them. It likes my edits. So I'm going to do this. When in doubt, I'm going to move out of it, grab another image for a moment. And let's try that again. All right, here we go. All right, so we'll come back to the develop. And for some reason, it wants to keep that last change I made. So I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. There. All right, so you know what? I'm going to embrace that. So here we are with the develop raw, and these were my settings. All right, a minus. So I made it towards almost a half a stop underexposed. So now look how the entire image is dark, and the feathers are slowly coming out. All right? And then the highlights, I wanted to tone them down a bit. So this is before, and this is after. And so in theory, it looks bad. But this is where we're going to come over. Since it's not playing well with us, we'll just go up this way. Then we'll come up to the Enhance AI. That you know what I'll do? Let me manually erase each one of these and see if that'll fix it. Here we go. Yeah, for some reason, it wants to keep the edits themselves. So this is a workaround. And get rid of glow. And by the way, up on top, it's showing me the number of edits that I've used to create this look. And there we go. All right, so there we are. So we did the edits, or we did the develop. Now it looks dark. So let's come over to Accent AI, and let's give it a generous amount. Already the image is looking better. I'll close out of it. And if I open back up again, I'm going to give it a second instance of it. And right about there is looking good. And already, look at that. We're already bringing the shadow, or we're already bringing the lost details back. Now, to enhance them a little bit further, let's come over here to details. And we're going to adjust the details just a little bit. Now, I don't want it to work on the background layer or the background area. I just want it to be applied to the feathers itself. So I'm focusing on the feathers. And I'm going to use the visibility icon just to see if there's a change. Good. Give it a second. Good. Now, from here, I'll click on the layer mask, and I want to paint in the effect, but only on the feathers themselves. Carl, are you still able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It's good.
Good. That's it. Now I'm doing this because I don't want the background to be sharp. I just want the feathers to be sharp. So now that's looking good. Now, the issue we're running into is we restored the details in the feathers, but it's a little too sharp for my taste. So I'm going to come down to glow and then a little soft focus. Now, too much of it is going to definitely blow it out, but it does look dreamy. So I'm going to dial it back to have a good balance of the feathers still being sharp and the glow is still there. All right, that looks good. And last, this green is competing too much with the scene. So I'll come up here to color. HSL for use saturation and luminance. And let's take the luminosity down of that green. I'm going to go to an extreme, just so you can see it here. And I'm going to bring it back just a little bit, so we can tell that it's there. Now it's no longer competing with the bird. Now I'll click on Vignette, and we'll finish it off. Choose the subject, bird, and then we'll dial in our amount. There we go. Burn the edges a little bit. And then, let's see what inner light's going to do for us. Oh, there it is. That's the kind of glow we're looking for. All right, let's see. So here's before, and here's after. All right, great. All right, Carl, let's open it up for discussion.
Okay, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you in order. Charles, go. Charles, have your hand up. So Charles, go ahead, then we'll do Kirk after that.
Yeah, Vanelli, every time you do another step in the editing there, are you losing any quality from the original image?
No, no. So each time.
Well, Grizzlies, we have a bunch of fast typing and
Okay, what was that?
telling you.
All right, so so each time you go from one step to another, you're just building on top of what's already been there. So you're not losing quality. It's not like you're destroying the pixels. Now you are modifying them, right? But you're not destroying the pixels themselves, and you can always go back and just readjust them.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Kirk, go ahead, please.
Hi, Vanelli. Nice picture. I'm going to be Mr. Picky as usual. I apologise already in advance. When you took the green down, which I think was perfectly acceptable and a good thing to do, what I think it may have done is it's drawn attention to the lighter area of the background between the bird and the leaf. So you took the competing leaves away, but you've now got the that lighter area there.
Here.
I'm just being super picky,
Yep.
you know. I mean,
I don't mind that, but if you want that down, then there's a couple options.
I'm balancing it with the top left-hand corner, so you get some sort of evenness across that background.
Gotcha. So if we want it a little bit darker, we can come back to develop. And actually, now that you just said that, one step I didn't do was super contrast. And with the shadows, let's try this. There we go. So we could bring, nope, that's going to do the whole thing, so that's not going to work on that end. So to get this darker, we could come up here to develop. And then from develop here, let's see, we could take the exposure and dial it back right about there.
Mm-hmm.
And then apply the layer mask, paint it in, but just in this area here. There we go. See more what you're looking for?
For me, I think that just adds a little bit more to the image.
Gotcha. I might as well pop up here a little bit.
You know when you're doing a portrait and you just put a bit of a rim light on something?
Exactly. Gotcha. Now, in the original image, I got rid of this green tint in the back area, but it's not really bothering me too much here. But there we have it. Good call, Kurt, as usual. All right, next. And somebody mentioned, what about the beak?
Sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, I was thinking on that last suggestion, what if you use relight, the new relight,
A.
Okay. So what would you want to do with relight?
Instead of what you did last to kind of
Oh, I
do
see.
that
So
background.
instead of doing what we just did, yes, we could have attacked it with relight.
And the other thing, Vanelli, probably you're doing something with the change that you were doing with the camera profile. I faced the same thing. I reported it to support, but I didn't have the steps that you cannot delete all your edits. The last one kind of stays. And the only pattern that I found is when you use your camera profile.
Yeah, I don't know why it did that. So that should never have happened. Once we hit, the zoom window's killing me. There we go. Yeah, once we hit discard images, discard edits, all of them are supposed to be gone. Look, it did it that time. Interesting. Let's see. Nope, it did it that time. Nope, maybe not.
No?
Didn't do it.
Nope, it didn't do it. So I'm gonna file this with the tech
That
support.
Develop raw is the one that stayed for me all the time when I changed my camera profile. So it's something to keep in mind.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know. Thanks.
Hey, let's go with Ed, and then we'll go with Phil after that.
When you were trying to get rid of the edits, when you were trying to get rid of the edits, and you were trying to get rid of all of them, when did you just go down to the bottom and revert to original?
Yeah, I tried that. You're saying down here? Let's try this one. You know what? Let's see. Let's see if that'll do the solution. And actually, I bet you it did. Now, who gave that suggestion?
Who would have thought?
Ed.
Ed?
Good call.
Good call. But the other way should have done it too.
Only a good call. I don't know no better.
Yeah, it should have done that too. So we'll double check that. Yeah, but it should have done it that way too. But wait, that was a great call there. I'm so used to right clicking and trying to find it in the menu. But good job. So under actions here, revert to original. Awesome.
Shift Control E on Windows should work also.
Awesome. Shift Control E shortcut.
Yeah, that should work on Windows box.
Yeah, I don't have it up here. Gotcha.
This
Awesome.
Control E is export.
No, Shift Control E on a Windows box is reverting back to the original image. If you right click on the picture,
Oh wait, look at this.
oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, Shift Control E is for export.
I had the wrong combination then.
Well, I would suggest you look it up in the user manual.
You are such a wise guy.
Phil,
Good.
go ahead, please.
Vanelli.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's Zoom or not, but on my monitor, this picture, the eye is not tack sharp. You don't see the iris of the eye. You really don't even have a highlight in the eye. So I understand that what you were doing was for the purpose of showing what you can do in Luminar Neo with the feathers. But it's, even after you sharpen the feathers, I have to say it's not a competition picture.
All right, so what will we do with the eye?
Well, I don't know whether you can, because there's no paintbrush.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
do
no,
the
so
white
once,
paintbrush.
once the dodge and burn tool is added,
Yeah,
once the dodge and burn tool is added, that's when we'll readjust the eye. Or,
and the entire, you're recording this, so I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but this picture needs topaz sharpen. It really does.
Topaz
So
what?
the whole thing sharpen.
Yeah, you could do the sharpening with it, but again, that's where the details come in. Or, but like I said, the eye itself,
Like I
that's
said,
not.
I don't know whether it's Zoom
and its compression, or whether it just that was out of focus when you took the picture.
Yeah, so that eye is not tack sharp. Well, it's sharp, but not, you can't see.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can actually recreate that just with the dodge and burn tool, or use develop, bring out, let's see. And we'll bring out the exposure. So even if I take the exposure way out, are you able to see? Yeah, see.
You see, that looks a little bit better on the eye.
Yeah, so if you did that, and then
on rate.
Actually, we can't do it yet. So what we'll do is, let me just make a small change. Let me just make a small change quick, and go back into it. Now we can do it. There we go. And now we can paint it.
You want to paint it in or paint it out?
No, we just want to paint in.
In, just for the iris, right?
There we go. But then we could adjust it accordingly. There we go. And probably, let's see it. There we go. And I would probably hit it with a denoise.
I'd make that even, so you see it when you zoomed out.
There we go. Yeah, just denoise that section right here. There we go. All right, good call on that too. All right, other questions, Carl? Carl?
Wake up, Carl.
Wrap it up, Vanelli. Wrap it up.
That's
There's
good.
the signal.
I can't see them. All right, so that was it. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us. And let me come back here. Good, guys, thanks so much for joining us. And I'll see you at the next coffee break.